All right, 7 o'clock. I want to get started on time for all the people that are here and make the best use of their time. So, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. Aaron, thank you to join also. So, everyone, welcome to the IXS AMA. I'm Yohan, CMO at IXS, and I will be the host today. Julian and Aaron join us. So tonight we are recapping Token 2049. That was what was the signal versus noise, and then sharing IXS project update and where we see the RWA tokenization market heading next. Julian, Aaron, do you have anything else
Sure.
to add maybe before we start with the question? Or maybe Julian, share your feedback
Yep.
on Token 2049?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having us, and thanks for all those that are joining here and later on the recording. I'm Julian, I'm the co-founders and CEO of IXS. Yeah, excited to be giving you guys our monthly update. I think this must be now, I don't know, something like our third or fourth year. So we've done a lot of these, but it's always good to keep the community updated about all the great work that's going on. A lot of it behind the scenes. Yeah, so let's just talk Token 249. I'm staring at the city right now, actually, Singapore. Yeah, absolutely enormous. I think biggest crypto event in the world. I went to Bitcoin Vegas. I think that was 50,000 tickets. I felt like this is definitely bigger. Five or 600 side events. We were speaking at, I think, five or six. Coinbase was hosting a bunch of different events that we were invited to as one of our investors. And the overarching takeaway for those that weren't there was that first of all, the energy was super high. There's a lot more TradFi Web2 traditional investors coming into the space, which is we've been talking about all year. It's related to the Trump administration, the Genius, the stablecoin bill, the market structure bill that's coming out, the Bitcoin treasury companies, the institutionalization of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ETFs, and it's just sucking in a whole new group of people, which I think is fantastic and much needed, and a much bigger audience. So, even for the diehard crypto people, there's a much larger universe of people that aren't in the space. Therefore, there's a lot larger universe of capital that's not in the space compared to what is in the space. And I think the possibilities are just enormous. I mean, crypto is now at a $4 trillion, but there's so many different assets around the world that are 100 times bigger than that. So we're really scratching the surface, and then we start talking about real world asset tokens, and the amount of real world assets is astronomical. It's much bigger than crypto. Eventually the market caps of world asset tokens will far supersede crypto, because you just have to look out your window and you can see a lot more real world assets than you can see crypto. But they go hand in hand and they help each other grow. At Token 1249, definitely we're in our focused area of RWA. That being said, it's definitely one of the strongest themes, without a doubt. The real use case, something we've been talking about for many years, appeals to a lot of people. And RWA, I think, appeals a lot more to the rest of the world that's not in crypto yet than even the crypto audience, even though there's a lot of big supporters and we've got this great community and we're building these great, amazing products. But when you just think about the concept of RWA, we're tokenizing these real world assets. We're bringing equities and debts and treasuries and money market funds and real estate. We're bringing it all on chain, and all those assets I just talked about are from the real world, where the rest of the 8 billion people in the universe live in what they buy and what they sell. So it's very appealing. So real way assets is kind of a gateway drug to get the rest of the world into blockchain and crypto, because the people that know about Bitcoin and altcoins now, they're already in it, right? And again, much bigger universal approach. But RWA, huge thematic, one of the strongest themes. AI is probably the only other theme that I heard in a similar volume. AI and crypto and RWA and crypto. So yeah, I think we had a lot of different meetings, a lot of direct meetings. More custodians, very interested in bringing a Bitcoin real yield product to their audiences. We had more discussions with fintechs, like our partnership with the Line Super App. More and more fintechs want to work out how to bring RWA to their audience, and they either don't have the tech or don't have the licenses or don't have both. So there's like three things you need to sell these assets. tech licenses, or or both if you're a business. So that's very appealing. So I think the hard work done, that's all still very early days in Japan. I think we'll talk about the lineup a bit later. Is starting to resonate, and you can see obviously the Robin Hoods of this world coming to the space, to the RWA. It's a platform game, and that's where we sit. And we sit in the nexus of Web 2, Web 3, crypto, RWA, and it all sits right. We sit right smack bang in the middle of all that. We had a lot of discussions with crypto exchanges as well. So we've got our joint venture with 4 regulated crypto exchanges in Asia around the Union Chain product, which is 25 million KYC users. Just a bit of context, about a year and a half to negotiate that, and then you've got to get into the build and the implementation. So it's heavy lifting, but it's just huge. The outcome's huge. So we're very much drive B2B type relationships. We're speaking more crypto exchanges. I think we had an Indonesian exchange, had a Malaysian exchange, had a Korean exchange, had 2 Korean exchanges, just to name a few, who we sat down with and started to discuss how can we help them bring RWA to their audience in a legal compliant manner, and how do they make more money out of it, and how do we have more revenue share, and then how do we have more partners, and how do we have more people buying RWA and bringing the TVL up. So that was sort of a big key thematic, that was great to see. We did the first RWA event on a rooftop bar in Singapore in 2018 when it was security tokens, and 5 people turned up. So now we're speaking at 5 or 6 events, and there's hundreds and thousands of people in the room, and every single VC now wants to invest into stable coins and RWA and all this kind of thing. So that's the other thing that's been happening, is that there's a big push now on the investor side to everyone wants to be in the stablecoin game. It is what it is, but the industry's called stablecoins RWA, and they've called equity tokens RWA. So that's the same as calling cash and securities the same thing, which they're not. That's why I called it cash and securities. But here we are in a world where they've all been bucketed together. But positively, the venture capital world's kind of woken up, and it's not Web3 VC. It's not just Web3 VC. So a bunch of fintech Web2 venture capital firms are now trying to work out how to make some plays in this industry, and a lot of them are much more interested in RWA because they can understand it a lot easier than they can, full on crypto, DeFi, etc. So that's another new entrant to the marketplace. But like a lot of the things that people have been talking about now is, how do you create yield for your stable coins? We already do that. You buy our RWA tokens with your stable coins, you create yield. So I think it's very interesting to see this huge surge of startups and Wall Street titans are all trying to get their own stable coins off the ground. The DNA of a stable coin is insanely bullish for RWA, because what the US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said is, we're going to pump trillions of dollars of stable coins into the market because it increases US dollar dominance around the world. And we love that. And we're going to make sure that if you want to do this as a company, if you want to be a stablecoin issuer, you must take those dollars that someone gives you, you mint them a stable coin, and then you must use those dollars to buy US treasuries, US debt, right? So that's why it's been called the Genius Act, because it solves America's 2 problems, which is, how do you remain the dominant global currency? And then how do you get people to buy your debt? And how do you do it all in one go? And then there you go, it's called the Genius Act. So it's incredible for America. But what it means is, the stablecoin companies are not allowed to pay yield, right? So they'll take that $1,000 and they'll buy US treasuries, and they'll make all the money. But the stablecoin holder, who's got the $1,000 of stablecoins, he's not allowed to earn yield, and they're not allowed to pay him yield. One of the reasons they've said that they don't want you to pay you yield is because the US government's also trying to protect the US banking system. So they're trying to protect this is very high level. They're trying to protect the US banking model of taking people's cash and deposits, paying them almost nothing, and then taking those same deposits that Aaron put in and lending them to Julian to buy a house and charging in 5% interest and making a fortune, right? So they're protecting the banking industry and the cash deposit model. They're guaranteeing buyers of their country's debt, which is insane, as in how big it is. And they're increasing US dollar dominance, because it's much easier for someone in Indonesia, Nigeria, et cetera, to get a stable coin than it is to open a bank account and get real dollars, because to get real cash US dollars, you've got to open a bank account, and billions of people never get approved to do that. So this then means with the next hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars of stable coins, they're sitting there earning no yield. They're all coming for RWA, and they're all coming for the fixed income products that we have. And it's just extremely, exciting to understand that and then to build towards that. But again, and all these all these companies now trying to launch these stable coins, they're all saying we need yield bearing stable coins because look, Tether and Circle don't offer you anything. We've already got that done. So we need to work out um, how to get this message sharpened up, because we offer essentially that product already. It's just not called stablecoin yield, but that's exactly what it is. Put your stablecoin in and get a yield in an RWA. So it's extremely exciting. So that's sort of most of the token stuff. 8 days in a row, family office forums, Milken events, VC and PE forums, and then of course the Formula One race, which is always very exciting. And then, but I think it's like 6 a.m. to midnight every day, and hundreds of follow-ups. So we're trying to get in the follow-ups on there. That was my kind of overview of the token. All so much RWA stuff. It was great. Yeah. So I mean, that's the wrap up for that, Johan.
Thank you very much, Julian. Definitely agree with you on the energy of the event, and also, on the fact there is a lot of TradFi people. Definitely, I heard also. I think you mentioned that about the agentic tooling with the institution that are the next on ramp. The agentic solution can abstract complexity for the users. So while institutions integrate crypto rails into existing products. So this was quite interesting. And to go to the next question that is linked with what you mentioned, what is the timeline for BTC yield to go live? I
Yep.
mean, a lot of people on our community asking about this question. So
Yep.
could
Yep.
you please clarify?
Sure. Yeah. I actually started working on this in December. That was the first research that we started doing. And uh, long story short, lots of legal, not so much technical. We have custodian partners, we have market makers, we have investors, we have investment contracts, we have tri-party agreements, we have all these kinds of stuff. So um, heavy lifting. I was hoping to launch earlier for sure. So I'm more frustrated than anyone in the community could possibly be. I would say we're going to be there this month, and hopefully sooner rather than later. We've got one more contract to sign, and then we could actually start accepting. So so I think that's the target. Um, yeah, that's the target. I'll segue that into the original plan for that is targeted at, let's call it layer one Bitcoin, original Bitcoin. As some of you might know, there's a whole new world of BTC-Fi, which has a whole bunch of layer two Bitcoin solutions and services and products being built, wrapping Bitcoin and creating wrap versions of Bitcoin, and then being able to do more with those Bitcoin than what you could do with layer one Bitcoin. Um, all the things you can do around Ethereum and all that, in DeFi. So the point that I was trying to make is we're now speaking to a bunch of the wrap Bitcoin groups and the BTC Fi groups that want to bring real
Mm.
yields to their BTC Fi yields. So that to me is really exciting. And
Yeah.
I think that so I think we had stacks on the AMA yesterday. Was it only yesterday? It's a long day. But anyway, long story short, it's incredible that the BTC Fi community and many groups in there are actually actively seeking out the Bitcoin real yield product, because that would then differentiate their offering by having DeFi yields plus real yields, right? So that's really
Mm.
cool. That's really cool. I'm excited by that. We've got, each one of them's got its own technical flow to kind of understand. But I think ultimately as well, we're seeing we're seeing this whole convergence across the space, right? You see a lot of people trying to bring real yields into so-called DeFi platforms. Some of it's a lot of it's innovative, some of it doesn't look so legal, but whatever. It looks like it's all sort of happening. So we've got this sort of the infrastructure to be able to do it. We just got to put more of kind of these pieces of the puzzle together, and that's what I think is really happening. And then one of the big targets for us are these digital asset treasury companies. So through Bitcoin Vegas and Bitcoin Asia and Bitcoin Mina, we're speaking to a lot of digital asset treasury companies they're just one group of Bitcoin holders, and not even a massive group. Even though there's 160 public listed companies that hold Bitcoin, and there's probably thousands of private companies that do it. They don't publicize it. But then you have um, total maybe 4 or 5% of Bitcoins in digital asset treasury companies right now, and most of that's with strategy, Michael Saylor. But the point is, the concept of raising money in a listed vehicle to buy Bitcoin and do nothing, that game's over because it's already been won by the early players. So you can see, if you do some of the posts that we've shared, is showing clear verbalization of, you must find yield. And so I think that's very interesting because, when you think about a company exists to provide value to the shareholders. So if you hold Bitcoin and there's a way to earn yield and you're not doing that, you're not providing maximum value to your shareholders. And if you want to try to launch a digital asset treasury company now, the DATs, if you just say, if you can't just say you're holding Bitcoin, you have to have yield strategies. And our strategy is obviously very powerful to help new digital asset treasuries get off the ground, because if you're holding $1 billion of Bitcoin and you can get a 5-10% extra return, it's 50 to $100 million. Like on smaller levels,
Yeah.
it might not be that impressive. On bigger numbers, it's absolutely, eye-watering, the changes, that the value uplift we can bring to these. But again, so that's a big focus, but that's institutional. A lot of these listed, lots and lots of paperwork and compliance and whatnot. So it's just one subset of the groups that we're looking at. And then the main target for us is our custodian partnerships that are holding all the Bitcoin. We've announced one already. There's ones we're working on. Again, I always get yelled at if I say anything, but there's going to be more. Let's just say that. So if anyone wants to yell at me because I'm saying there's going to be more, that's what businesses do. They try to do more of stuff. But anyway, that's happening. Very exciting. And a lot of these custodians are loving us because they're adding value to their Bitcoin holders, and they don't have to do any more work. So extra value, make more money, do the same amount of work. Yeah, it's kind of a dream come true for most businesses. But anyway, very excited by that, and that's the latest on that front.
Yeah, definitely. We are all excited about the BTC. Definitely. Thank you, Julian. So the next question will be what are the goals and milestones of the team regarding the TVL and company
Mm.
onboarded until end of the year?
Okay, Aaron, did you have your own thoughts? I've got my own, but I'd be happy. We haven't even asked ourselves the exact number besides the last strategy meeting we had. But has that changed for you, or what are you thinking? Aaron, you there? You got connection issues? All right. Well, I think you might have done. I'll kick on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so uh, I get asked this question all the time, actually. What's my ultimate goal? My ultimate goal is to get. My ultimate goal is to take the largest part of attacking the $2.4 trillion Bitcoin market. Every single one of those Bitcoins is a target for our company. Why wouldn't it be? So we have to be. So we're launching a new product, never been done before. I want to get us to the billions as soon as we can. That's what I want to do. I'm not doing that. We're not doing this to fail. We're not doing this to have small volume. So, I mean, again, I just think that, I guess, to give a logical mathematical response to people, it's like, well, if you want to try and target a market, you want to hit 1%, 2%, 5%, 10% of that market. So, you know, 1% of 2 trillion um, is a lot, 5% and 10%. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to answer. It's built for everybody. With Bitcoin, we're starting at an institutional level, so the minimum loans are $1 million. There's always considerably extra cost and considerable extra paperwork and consider extra legal work to offer stuff to retail investors. We have other products on our platform that retail investors can buy, and of course we're doing this in a B2B model. So BitGo owns Fireblocks has 3,000 institutions using their platform. If each client had 10 Bitcoin, which isn't a lot for an institution, you're talking of hundreds and hundreds of millions. And again, you're not going to get everybody.
Yeah.
And again, I can't talk too much about the companies coming on board soon, but that's the goal, right? So we're open to, and now we're working out how we can help these wrap Bitcoins join the party, which is a whole another round of value. And I think as BTC-Fi continues to grow, more and more people will be seeking kind of the real yield concept. So that's the best way I can answer it today.
Okay, thanks, Julian. Aaron, do you want to jump on this, or maybe we can
Yeah, no,
go?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just say a couple of things. Yeah, we are working on a TVL in a couple of different ways right now. I think what Julian had mentioned is actually the crypto TVL side of things. We are running a few POCs right now, with a couple of different groups just to test the BTC model. So once that is up and ready, we will likely get the full TVLs for some of these protocols as well. But as Julian said, we can't mention a lot of these names until the POCs are done. So that's on the BTC side. On the RWA side, we have been working on some gold contracts at the moment. That has been being worked on for quite a couple of months now as well. Hopefully come to fruition very, very soon. To add some RWA TVL. And on top of that, there has been some discussion, I guess, across the whole market on RWA TVLs, and what's being actually reflected properly, and what the crypto community perceives as TVL and what the RWA community perceives as TVL. So we will be pushing out some information on that as well, and pushing, I guess, our own stats of what we perceive the company has done over the last couple of years, and it is a significant amount, a significant difference compared to what's being reported right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
All right. Yeah.
I was going to say, if Aaron's finished, I was going to add, like one of the banes of our existence is the fact that a lot of people in crypto don't understand, haven't understood RWA, and from a structural industry perspective, there's bits of pieces of the puzzle missing, there's bits of the machine missing, right? What was super interesting, and we stopped talking about it, we've just been trying to solve it. But what happened like 2 weeks ago, where you had the CEO of Figure Markets, Mike Cagney, who's a very successful entrepreneur who has publicly stated that they have something like $13 billion of tokenized home equity loans, so RWA, right? Now, they're on this Provenance blockchain, which I believe is like a private permission blockchain. But they're just publicly listing. So the SEC and all the filings believe what Mike says. You could say now, right? He's now, I think, become a public company, or he's about to go public. So if we assume that what he's saying is true, then let's go check DeFi Llama, CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap to see what his RWA value is. And go over there, and there's zero, right? There's nothing there. So why? Why is there nothing there? If you think about this industry right now, if you think about digital asset industry, the digital asset industry exists with cryptocurrencies, stable coins, and now tokenized treasuries, equity tokens, security tokens, RWA, right? So the DeFi aggregators have existed in a world originally when they built their businesses, and they do a fantastic job of doing what they originally did, which was aggregating all the prices for cryptocurrency, because they could do that with price oracles, searching online, because the entire asset, whether it's Bitcoin or IXS or any other cryptocurrency, there is no off-chain, right? You seek on-chain data to provide the data about the token on the chain, right? Great. I think everyone understood that. So what's the point of this conversation? The point of the conversation is these platforms have traditionally refused. I don't know if it's maybe a strong word. These platforms only accept on-chain data as the source of truth for the value of a token. Okay, we only accept on-chain data. Well, how's that going to possibly work if the real world asset token's value is from the real world, which is off chain, right? And the answer is it doesn't work, which is why, you know, um, uh, Mike's platform is showing zero. So he was getting all upset that he's not getting a real reading, but it's the same problem for 99% of RWA projects, the same problem for our platform. It's been the same problem for every single RWA token, mostly in the history of time. This conundrum where the people who are perceived as the gatekeepers and the go-to information centers to get the value of stuff can't have said they don't measure it. We don't measure it. So yeah, I dropped the post a week or two ago and said, we've got to try to solve this issue because we've done nearly 80, $100 million of deals on our business, and our TVL on CoinGecko is like $100,000. So again, so we need to work with these platforms. Hopefully they're more open-minded over time. It was basically the DeFi Llama CEO and Mike and the CEO of Figure Markets kind of yelling and screaming at each other, but they were sort of weren't debating the same thing. Like it needed to be said that you guys the system you guys are talking about, it's like apples to oranges. So you need to get apples to apples, or you're never going to meet in the middle. I don't know what happened after that, but it's certainly an issue. So to Aaron's point, we're looking at solving our existing business that we've done. That's one thing, and then moving forward, how to actually get a system and buy-in with. Again, this is not easy because these are not our businesses. We're going to these platforms saying, "Hello, here's RWA. This is how it works. You need to look at these things to get the real value." But and they're just like, "No, that's not what we do." Because also, RWA is different from crypto. RWA is being run by meant to be run by a professional company, fund manager, treasury company, real estate guy, whatever. And that's his job, right? His job's to run an investment and give valuations and third-party valuations and do things properly in the real world, and then tell people and then marry that across to the token value on chain. So you have to have a combination of on-chain and off-chain data to get a true value. Otherwise, it's disconnected. And so this problem is, an industry-wide problem. We haven't talked about it for a while. It's clearly a big issue. It's clearly a big issue for everybody. um, and so we're going to put up, I think, some stuff coming on the pipeline for us. Again, I'm not going to get into the details because I don't want to be yelled at for saying things, but we're going to make it much more obvious what we've really done. We're going to work much harder and find solutions, and be trying for a while to get the future assets coming recorded properly. I mean, I want to see CoinGecko with our real TV, or, whatever, however we get there, and it's high on the list. But if the world understood what I just said, in terms of the entire market, IXS would not be as undervalued as it is. Full stop. And that's the way it is. So that's the wrap up on that, and I'll pass it back to Yohan.
Thank you, Julian. That is very interesting what you mentioned, and yeah, I think maybe I'm wrong, but also it depends maybe also of the type of asset you tokenize. But I think this topic we will elaborate more in the future, because definitely I think this is a very interesting topic. So the next question that we have is, can we get any info on the new tokenomics?
Aaron, I'm going to get you. I mean, again, you can share with what we're allowed to share, but I mean, you let them know.
Well, we're not allowed to share anything for now. So sorry, guys. We'll share that with you once we have everything ready. We don't want to release things in bits and pieces. We want the full information to go out to everyone. So just hold on for that. Thanks.
Okay,
So everyone got screwed. No new information tonight. Yeah, it's going to be cool. It's just very, very cool. Very interesting, real value, real utility. It's a good one. So yeah, just hang tight. Appreciate the patience.
Great, thank you. And yeah, the next question is a little bit related also to this one. So are there any plan to give IXS more utility, especially on the endless tax side?
Yeah, there is 100%. A lot more utility. Have to wait for the announcement whenever it's ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So what is the status of the 5 billion in the pipeline? The community asked a lot about this question. I saw that on the Telegram group.
Yeah. Well, again, if I'm not saying we've got there yet, but if we had right now, you still wouldn't be able to see it because I just told you the problem that we're trying to solve industry wide. Look, it's a combination of the assets that I guess have been mentioned before or kind of obvious. Commodity. I'll just talk sectors: real estate and commodity, financial instruments, treasuries, money market funds, private credit. Oil and gas. Um, there's a sharp increase in the inbound inquiries coming from much larger organizations from all asset classes. So I think that still remains our target. Again, we people might not truly understand. So we provide this infrastructure layer, right? That's what the team has been building every day since inception to create that full end-to-end solutions with all these innovative products and whatnot. That being said, and we have all these licenses and we spent years building this and we're working 24 hours a day. That being said, we are not the product, each product manager. We're not the real estate group. We are not the treasury group. We are not the private credit group ourselves. We can't be everything, right? So the history of this space and our business is we are subject to the quality of assets in the marketplace and the quality of managers because we can't do it all, right? So it's dramatically increasing in both quality and scale and size, but it's the first time for everyone to do this. If you take an institutional business, and so let's talk about a bank so everyone can understand. If you take a bank and you go to a bank, hey bank, you run your business like this on paper. There's this whole new tokenization thing. Just come across and let's go, right? How easy do you think that is? And the answer is, it's fucking difficult, right? I mean, it's Bitcoin's 17 years old, and finally BlackRock said, "Okay, we'll take it on, we'll sell it." Right. So there's an enormous amount of inertia and energy that's required for a TradFi group from the real world, which is all our clients, with billions of dollars of assets, to then convince their manager, their boss, their CEO, their CFO, their board of directors, their everybody to now take this enormous leap in their head, big risk, has never done it before, to start tokenizing these assets and try to understand this whole crazy space and try to work out who's doing what and want to work out what smart contracts are and work out what blockchains are and work out what issuances is and who's got trading and how's the DEX working and stuff. So it's an incredible amount of heavy lifting, right? So that's why we've seen, some great product market fit and some uplift on the treasury tokens. They're liquid, they're interest bearing, um, and the stablecoin guys can go in and out on them, and that's where they found some product market fit. But let's be realistic as well. The biggest one of them ever is Biddle from Securitize. Securitize, that was only 2 billion, 6 months ago, or 1 billion, and the initial funding from that all came from Goldman Sachs or BlackRock, one of those two, who invested $50 million in the company and funded the first $500 million, give or take. Don't quote me on these numbers. But my point is, like, and they're not and they're out in front, and that's taken all that time. So, because the startup industry is rife with platforms and people just saying all kinds of stuff and making all kinds of stuff up, I think there's sometimes a disconnect with the community on the realities of actually doing all this stuff and just looking at one project and going, okay, Securitize started when we started. They've had 150 million or $200 million more funding than us, right? And they're now cracking the nut now. So, imagine like so. Anyway, point is things are good. They're doing a great job. We wish them all. We wish them well. But like, there's many. My point I'm trying to make is that who wants $5 billion TVL tomorrow more than anyone on this phone call? Me, maybe Aaron, but me, right? So everyone yelling and screaming, thinking that we don't want this to happen as fast as possible, it doesn't make much sense because we're the biggest bag holders. We're the ones building the product. But I just try to break that down for people to give them a bit more insight that it's you know, and everything we do on an issuance is an entire other person's company, that they have an entire business to run, an entire their money, their assets, and so we do as much as we can to try to help them get off the ground. And then I think you'll see, I think hopefully the community can see just from the evidence, we started with very small private assets a couple of years ago, hard to scale, but we got them off the ground. Interesting, cool, innovation, lots of lessons. And we've moved into this institutional side where the product market is for the assets. The potential is much higher, it's much more scalable. It's still very early, but we've built all this infrastructure, and you know, we push as hard as we can to get all the as many, you know, assets onto the board as possible. Plus, we get the added challenge of now having to help the whole industry, ourselves included, our own community, our own clients, to get the TVL solved. Once you even have tokenized it, which we've done, to even get those platforms to actually tell everyone the real number, right? Which is something we're not gonna stop till we get it done. So that's a bit more color to it. We're pushing hard on it all. There are some massive assets out there. I had a meeting today with a real estate owner that's got a $200 million asset that they want. There was another one that emailed today to 41 million. So, you know, it's not that far away, but, you know, it's in terms of getting to a big number, but, you know, we still need a bit more time.
Sure. Thank you, Julian. For one of the latest question, this one I think Aaron wanted to reply. What is the marketing strategy to attract new buyers of token and increase the volume? So, what is the marketing strategy to attract new buyers of the token
Yeah, I can
and
hear you.
increase volume?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm not sure if he's got connection issues.
Ah.
Aaron, you there? Oh, there he is. Go for it.
Yeah, so I've been working over the last couple of weeks with a couple different DEX market makers as well, on the liquidity on IXS. So this is going to get fixed, I guess, in the next couple of weeks as well. There might be some changes in some trading venues, and we will be tightening up liquidity on trading as well, so it's less, I guess, volatile for new traders coming to the market as well. And will provide some less volatility on the downside going forward. So that's one thing that we're doing. The other thing that we are doing, like Julian mentioned, is we are heavily working on this whole TVL issue on the platform. That should eventually translate into more token buyers once they can actually see that, you know, the platform has actually been running for a significant amount of time and it has significant amount of deals done already and more deals coming forward. So those are the main initiatives that the company's been working on. And hopefully you start seeing a change relatively soon on the price action.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's something that we're working to solve. A few things. Yeah, so that's on the kind of liquidity side. On the marketing side, yeah, we're bringing in more firepower on that front. One of the key high-level things is a new focus on America. The capital interest, the activity, the number of listed codes, the treasuries, et cetera, all the stuff we've talked about already. Extremely bullish. I personally think there's like thousands of times more capital in America than there is in the rest of the world combined, especially for innovation and new things. And America's been like a pressure cooker, so it's been like strangled for the last 4 years with the Biden administration. While they're trying to kill the industry, people are actually still building there, and then now it's been released. It's going to massively overtake the rest of the world, or it's just going to go crazy in terms of the size, because you can't hold back a market like that. You got guys like JP Morgan saying Bitcoin's evil, and then by the way, we have 100 people building on the last 4 years, and then last week they said, I think 4% of every client's allocation of our portfolio should be allocated to Bitcoin. So that's just one story, right? So there's a lot of people saying things and doing the other. So I think ultimately America, we've got some new marketing partners out of the US. We've just joined this RWA pod thing, which we will do another session with those guys soon. We've got some you'll start to see some more stuff that there's certainly circles around America. we've already indicated our strategy to do more in America, to get into America. That still remains certainly key. I'm not going to answer any questions about that, but we've talked about it, and yeah, very, very excited by what's happening in America, and yeah, heading back over there again for the fourth time this year. So that, I think there's a lot of marketing activities that are starting to get rolled out, plus some liquidity solutions. So we're very aware of that. We've had a tough time on the token, for sure, and no one feels that more than us. We know everyone wants things to go up all the time. We know we've got a lot of work to do. I think we're very excited by all the things that we're conjuring up right now, and we're taking a different approach to quite a few different things, and trying to adopt and adapt to the market today, which is a very different market from before. Things that worked before don't necessarily work today. A lot of the people who are in the market before don't have any money, or their altcoin are really down. They're not really acting money. So for me, the number one thing for what are we doing on the market is like, how do you get new buyers? How do you get the this new wave of people coming in? It's not the people that are already here. So a lot of times people are saying, you must do this, you must do that. And they're saying, well, this is what you did for marketing 3 years ago. None of these TradFi people were here, or very few, right? So new channels are a must, new followers, new buyers, new markets, new people, new mindset. And I think for the first time, I can probably confidently say, it's been hard. It's been extremely hard, challenging to run an RWA project the last couple of years, because your competition is meme coins and metaverse gone, meme coins, a lot of them gone, NFTs, a lot of them gone. I mean, I think they're all great and cool, and I own a bunch of that stuff as well. But my point is that um, it was always, there was much bigger gambling to be had in other places. So now we're finally at a point where everyone finally, the market's starting to adopt this stuff, this real world stuff. It's certainly um, the understanding, and the new people coming into the space, they can understand what we're saying. I used to get laughed out of crypto events saying RWA is stupid and we don't want that stuff. And now, you get invited to every second event because everyone wants to know about it. So look, it's really positive. It's just it's a marathon, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. Lots of work to do on that stuff, and we're looking at it and putting a lot of energy and effort into it.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Julian. Agree, definitely. What works in the last cycle will not necessarily work on this one. This one is quite different. Now we have the last question, and I think this one also Aaron wanted to reply. So, how will line user find out about IXS? Do we have any plan to capture more line user?
Yeah, that's something I've also been working on external with some external groups on earn treasury programs that allow retail users to come in and out. That's still a work in progress, and we're not going to do. I know some people have asked if we're going to do any sort of advertising online for now. Until the, I guess, more retail friendly products are up, we won't be using. Well, we won't be wasting our excess firepower for now. Right? We had tried launching a couple of deals via Kaya and Line previously through some of our movie partners as well. Traction was not was pretty muted because I would say the investment is too obscure, right? So we needed something a little bit more aligned with what the market understands, with what the users of Line understands as well, and the demographics. So that is in the works right now, and once that's done, we'll start pushing our marketing on the Line side.
Okay, thank you. So yes, no more question. So thank you for joining. The replay will be up on IXS on our Twitter. So if we miss any of your question, you can reply directly on the thread, and we'll collect them for our next update. Do you have anything else to add, Julian or Aaron, before we go?
Oh, what do I say? No, or last comments. Yeah, I don't think don't think there's been a better time to be in the RWA space. You know, tough times, lots of challenges, but more and more respect for what we bring to the marketplace. There's a lot more capital coming in just holistically or generally speaking. It's not a question, it's a lot less questions of what is RWA, how does it work, and a lot more questions of like, I want to do this, or what could I do with this product, or what can we do there? Um, you know, I think to reiterate again, some people I think misunderstood this, or maybe it's our responsibility, we didn't communicate it clearly enough, but the development of the Bitcoin real yield product was a analysis that the Bitcoin asset will continue to be the king of crypto. It is being institutionalized now at a pace that has never happened before in the history of Bitcoin. The macro environment of money printing and debasement of currency is increasing in speed and volume and size like never before. And Wall Street has adopted this, and therefore everyone else will as well. So and it's a non-productive asset that we could create a product to and bring in an extraordinary amount of stable coins to buy our RWA to increase our TVL. So it was always an additional buy channel. So instead of fiat stablecoin buy an RWA on IXS, that continues. You can do that today. It's use Bitcoin, lend my Bitcoin, borrow stablecoins, buy RWA, increase the TVL. So for me, kind of a bit mind blowing where we've doubled or quadrupled or tripled or 100x the buy capacity for our RWA. So we've 100x'd the potential TVL for our platform. And some people said, "Oh, well, you guys have changed your plans and we're not interested and we don't know what you're doing anymore. Have you lost the plot or something?" So there it is again for clarity. Um, Original business continues, focusing on selling RWA, growing TBL, fintech partnerships, sex partnerships. We're going full speed down that road. We've simply added, multiplied what we're doing here. And now people are starting to say, so, I'll put my hand up as CEO, take full responsibility for anyone that left the project or was unhappy for some reason. I guess I just thought it was, more obvious than other people did. But anyway, now we'll do a better job of showing that, that's the point of this. It's not to, I don't know what I don't, it blows my mind a bit because I thought it was quite obvious. But anyway, that's the point, right? Point is to drive it and then drive utility and buyback mechanisms and drive value for IXS, which I think is we know is deep a core proposition of the community and very a value one of the most valuable things that we need to focus on and that we need to achieve for everyone's benefit. And thanks again for listening, everyone. I'll pass to Aaron.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everyone here today. Stay tuned. We're shaking things up quite a fair bit at IXS with the marketing, liquidity, new people in the team as well. So going to be quite a few changes in the coming weeks, and looking forward to all these positive changes now. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.